What's going on, everybody? I am Wade Elliott, R&B pop singer, songwriter, and rapper, coming at you with another video today. Now today we're going to talk about basic recording tips and tricks that you might not have known about, that could help you in the long run, especially for those who are just getting started and may not be well known to these little things that we need to know that make our recordings go that much further. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is if you're when you're rapping or you're screaming, if you're a rapper or you're in a metal band, or if you're an alternative band, there's a little bit of screaming, or even in rapping nowadays, there's screaming in that. So when it comes to that, you want to make sure it has its own separate track. Now this helps when it comes to mixing it, because when you go to send off these tracks, or when you go to mix it, it makes it that much easier to put a particular mix on that track. And a lot of people who don't know, and that's okay. That's why I'm here to help you. But you don't want to have it on one track. You don't want your rapping on one track. You don't want your screaming on one track. You don't even want your singing on one track. Of course, it goes with creativeness as well. If you have other tracks that are overlaying, boom, 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 you're rapping here and screaming here and singing here, that's another thing. What I like to do as well is I like to possibly put in different main tracks. So if I have a rapper, or if I'm rapping, or if I'm singing, I'll have 1 or 2 to 3 main tracks I'll dedicate for main vocals, and then I'll have other tracks for either backups, harmonies. I'll set them out, have maybe 10 tracks of things that I possibly want to use. Granted, I sometimes don't use them, but it's always good to have them already there so you don't have to do it later. And if you do, it's no big deal. Depending on your DAW, it's easier to move plugins around versus some other ones that are already there. You can just duplicate it and they're all right there. Referencing FL Studio versus Logic or GarageBand. So you want to make sure your stuff's on different tracks. Again, when it goes to mixing, either that engineer or you can get the mix better. Besides it all having one mix and having the same sound, because sometimes your scream might not sound right with this EQ, or it can't bring out that nice richness of your voice on the one track. One particular tone or voice that you're throwing together isn't going to work with. It's not an all thing. It's not an all thing that fits all. It's not one track fits all kind of thing. But if that's the sound you're going for, hey, I can't knock you if you try. I can't knock you for doing it. I'm just giving you what I think and what I've experienced as a musician and a recording engineer. All right, number 2, this one here is for my FL Studio users. Now, I had to learn this the hard way to figure it out on my own. And also I want to give a shout out to BusyWorks Beats, or actually I watched his videos and he actually helped me with a couple things as well. Getting started with FL Studio, quick story, because I was doing GarageBand and Logic for 10 years, mostly GarageBand for 10 years, and I knew my way around that. And they have its own particular thing. But going back to FL Studio, so if you have a chain of plugins that you like to use, or you're getting ready to use, the top corner it'll say post. It's normally set to post. It's kind of blended in there, so you can't really see it, but it's right there where you go to put your input in, or select your input so you can activate your microphone. If you have it on post and you go to record, it's going to record that take with all those plugins with those settings. You can't change them, you can't take them off. It's just, that's how it's recorded. Now if you click it, it'll turn it to pre, which then makes it able to record with your plugins, but you can edit them after you record them. So that was just a little tip that actually made a big difference, because I struggled so hard trying to figure out what the hell is this? What the hell is going on here? I can't do this. And it's very frustrating when you're first going from one DAW, working with one DAW for so long, going to something brand new. It's like going to a brand new school, brand new town, and you don't know anybody or anything really about it. All right, so number 3. This one's pretty easy, but sometimes we overlook it, or we're not paying attention because we're trying to nail that take. So what you want to do is that you want to keep an eye on clipping. A lot of times your interface that you have will light up red when you clip, or sometimes you can tell with the waves that when you're recording, you can tell even in your ear, and if it doesn't show in your waves, you can hear in your ear. When it starts getting distorted, that's when you're clipping. And the more you clip, of course, it doesn't sound that great. You want a nice, clean recording. So of course keep an eye on that. And of course if you have to, when there's heavy or there's really loud parts that you get really excited for, sometimes we don't even realize it. We get so into our music that we don't really think about it. So after multiple times we're probably trying to do this take, try either stepping back from the microphone a little bit. So you come in here, you can step back and it'll still capture it just the same. And of course, if it's a little dimmer, of course we can always fix that up in post with your compression or even some automation. So that's a little fast, quick tip on number 3. All right, so number 4. Number 4 is, depends on your DAW that you're working on. So I know I had this experience with working with GarageBand, is that I'll be working with one section of a song, and then when I back out or I go to listen to the song again after I finish with that one section, I notice that some things are off. So what I do is that I like to, if you're working on a section for a long time, before you even start, make sure the other section is still good, or you're not doing something that's changing on this side versus this side. Going back to GarageBand, I know sometimes that's what would happen. Like say if I wanted to loop something, it would sometimes select the whole track, and you end up looping other tracks here, so everything would move. So you have to click inside and and click the other one to select that one track. I haven't really had that much of that bad experience with FL Studio or any other DAW. I just know that sometimes if you make little mistakes, sometimes, or you hit the wrong button, it may just do that. So you want to make sure you're always checking. If you're really focused for a long time, make sure you check your other sides, make sure everything is good. All right, so the last one we're going to talk about, number 5, we're going to talk about exporting your tracks. So depending on the situation, what you're doing, so whether if you're sending it off to get your track mixed and mastered, you want to make sure everything that you've previously mixed, say you may have mixed yourself, or the beat's lower, or that snare is higher, or whatever, anything you've done to kind of go through it and kind of get a vision of what you want, you want to make sure everything is zeroed out. Your panning, your levels, everything is zeroed out before you export them. I know in FL Studio there's a way to export them all at once versus some other DAWs such as GarageBand. Again, you have to select. This is back in the day, I don't know how GarageBand is now, but back when I was doing it with GarageBand, you had to select the track by itself. Of course, make sure everything was level 0, everything was zeroed out. You had to take all the plugins off, of course. You zeroed it out, and then you had to select it and then bounce that one track out or export that one track and do it again to all these tracks. So it was very tedious, very slow. I don't know how any other DAW does it besides FL Studio, which I believe it's about 2 buttons and then bloop. That's it. It exports how you wrote them, how you labeled your track, which is super simple. I've done it with a beat compilation when I wanted somebody to work on a beat for me, which that case, going from FL Studio to FL Studio user, it's a little easier because I believe he also had the same, depending on if you have the same plugins, they would also follow as well. So there's not missing a beat. So your mix is at his place or his or her place, and vice versa. You can go back and forth. So they make it very easy to do that. Now, to close that up, yeah, you want to make sure everything's zeroed out, because there's sometimes, I think I was exporting mine for mixing to a mixing engineer, mastering engineer as well. I left a reverb on there on accident, and I had to go back in and I had to do it all over again for the whole track. The whole track I think had a reverb on the master, so of course I had to redo that, and it was before I knew how to, of course, export everything out smoothly and quickly. Again, those little things, you want to double check everything that you do before you export them. Make sure everything is zeroed out. Again, depending on your DAW and your mix engineer when you have that discussion. So I want to say thank y'all so much for stopping by again. I am Wade Elliott. Again, you can also hit me up on Instagram down here in the bottom with my IG handle there. It's at I am Wade Elliott as well. You can email me, and of course you want to subscribe, like, and ring the bell icon for little videos like this. So again, thank you so much. I hope you have a good weekend. Peace.